Welcome back to FastMonty's Garage. Today we're going to explore opening up the bore on my aluminum wheel to match my new rear end hub on my Currie Ford 9-inch that I'm putting in my 69 GTO. Now the drama here happened last episode. Well, check out that eye right there. We were able to successfully remove the centerpiece of my 20-inch US mag wheel. Yes, it looks like a Rally 2, that's why I picked it. It just unbolted, dropped right out. And I learned it's a 2-piece bolted wheel, it's not a true 3-piece. But anyway, we got it out, and the plan was to go to machine shop and have them open the bore and add pockets, because I also shortened that rear end 1 inch on either side, and until I get new wheels, I was going to use this adapter, and we need pockets to cover the ends of the studs and the bolts. That's what these marks are for. Thinking through this, I think the priority is to open up this bore to make sure that fits, because long term I'm still going to use this wheel, maybe with a different barrel, and put it directly onto that hub. I'm still on the wait list at the machine shop, so if that opens up I can still get the pockets done. Unless you guys know of a way I can do those pockets at home, so leave a comment if that's the case. Speaking of comments and stuff, if I've ever helped you out, consider getting a hat or join the Full Monty Club right there. All proceeds go into buying tools like my brand new Makita Router, which we're going to experiment with today, and other projects, because the more mistakes I make, the faster you learn. Now, the reason I'm standing here right now is I already tested the router. So the router, it has a what's called a Rabbet Bit. That's what the Rabbet Bit looks like. It's 4-tooth, which is kind of neat, but it's made for wood, for woodworking. I successfully got that little piece of aluminum out of this 1/4 inch thick piece of aluminum and proved on my own that, hey, it is successful. It doesn't have to be wood. So we're going to give it a shot on here. If it doesn't work on here, I can still go to the machine shop and get it fixed. So that's my thoughts here. So but if it does work, now all of you know how to adapt your aluminum wheel to an oversized hub on whatever wheel you're working on, and you don't have to take the center section out. It's because you can use the router in the wheel. So let me go to the drawing board, show you the dimensions I'm working with, and to show you why I picked that bit, and then we'll go to my lab. Yeah, it's my backyard. And we will continue cutting, we'll try cutting this out. Just cutting this little piece created so many chips. I was covered head to toe in aluminum, so I don't want to do it in the garage. It'll be easier to clean outside, and we'll go from there. So let's go hit the workbench and show you some math. Here's my fast math chicken scratch. My apologies, but the Currie hub is a 3,050 diameter. The bore in the wheel is 2,835. The difference is the diameter. We have to divide that by 2 to get the radius. That's the radius difference we're targeting, and that's how I found this Rabbet Bit. There's a rabbit spelled with an E, not an I. I'll leave a link below, but it's 4-bladed, and it comes with these little bearings, and that's what goes up against your workpiece, and that distance from the blade to the bearing is how much you can cut. And this thing comes with a whole bunch of different bearings, and that's why on my router I have the biggest bearing, and that difference is 1/8 inch, which is 125 thousandths. That's how we got this number. That leaves us with a difference of almost 20 thousandths on the side, which is great, a great tolerance to work with for fitting the wheel over that hub. Keep in mind, I have tapered lugs, and that centers the wheel, not the hub. If you have a hub-centric wheel, you can't do this. You really need a machine shop to machine your wheel. So make sure you have tapered lugs and the matching taper in the wheel. So in addition to that is there's a chamfer on the wheel already. It's a pretty big chamfer, and I figured out all this math here. We should actually have some chamfer left over, so I don't have to buy another bit if this is successful to do a chamfer on that edge. So that'll be kind of neat. And the depth is a good question. The depth is actually with the rotor hat installed for the brake. We have 450 thousandths. This happens to be a 1/2 inch depth, so 500 thousandths. So if this goes according to plan, we are in business. Now, if this is too much to cut, keep in mind, you can cut like a little bit of material, lower it down, cut some more material. But I'm gonna try it in one pass, see what happens. So let's go hit the lab. Here we go. I did add a little bit of cutting fluid on that edge. I have no idea if that's helpful or not. We're gonna find out. But on my router, I have it on set at 3, which is I think around 20,000 RPM. And my plan is to obviously go as carefully as possible, try and protrude as much as I can until that bearing hits, and then I can start kind of moving back and forth and determine which way to go, because I'm sure there's a difference based on the rotation of the blade versus where you're going to cut. Here we go. All right, it's actually cutting pretty good. Let's see. Not bad. So I'm just gonna keep going. It's working, and you can see that little chamfer that's left over, and you can see where the bearing kind of touched there with the oil. So keep kind of progressing along, see how we do. Oh yeah. It's snowing aluminum over here in San Diego. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my vacuum, clean this up, go meet you back at the bench and test fit everything. Before we get to test fitting, I want to point a couple things out. The bit turns clockwise as you look down on it. And what worked best for me is once I got the bearing seated, I was able to move across in 1/4 inch increments, and it came out just fine. If I tried to go the other direction, it would grab every now and then. So don't know why, but that's what worked best for me. And secondly, if you go this route with the Makita Mini Router, there is a fitment issue. If you can see that little ledge in there, it was difficult for me to mount this bit. I had to take this plate off. So if you find a Rabbet bit for this particular router that's slightly smaller than that inner diameter, leave a comment below. Let us all know what you found and what worked for you. So other than that, let's get to test fitting. Okay, time for the ultimate test. It's our brake hat. If I can get it lined up right. Bam. Oh, okay, come on, baby. Oh yeah. I can move it around. Looks fantastic. Let me throw some lug nuts on there. Put a few lugs on here. I just grabbed 3. Oh, yes. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love it. It's working. I am so stoked. I just did the second wheel and the bit lasted. I didn't have to change bits. How crazy is that? Now, before I mount this hub to the rear axle, because I know you guys are dying that have been watching the playlist, I just thought of something. Let's go see if the brake caliper mount, this is a Wilwood brake caliper and a Wilwood parking brake. Let's go see if it fits, because the axle is shortened 1 inch. I just have this weird feeling we're gonna have a problem with the frame. Let's go see. So this is basically at ride height. We got some gap here between the frame. If I go ahead and try and mock up the brake bracket, do you see how the parking brake bolt, adjustment bolt, hits the body or the frame? Doesn't matter. If I trim that bolt, I still don't have enough room here. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I definitely had my suspicions that the shortening of the axle was going to cause problems with the frame and that brake. That parking brake caliper is new to me. The old way I was doing a GM rear end was a drum brake. So I think I have to rip the Band-Aid off, guys and girls. It's time to mini tub the GTO. So if you have an A-body, the next few videos are going to be intense. I have to put the Currie install on hold. I'm sorry, but that's why I don't think I need those pockets anymore, because after we mini tub, we have to size for new barrels for the wheels, and bolt these to the new barrels, and then we can put 345s in there. Well, I can dream, but 335s will fit no problem. So that I'm excited for. What I'm not excited for is the actual mini tub project, because it's a ton of work. I've never done it before, so you guys are going to learn from my mistakes, and we'll take it from there. So subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, building fast, driving faster. See ya.